Good morning, guys. It's Fulton from LASR, Lute Air Student Radio. Welcome back to my music room. It's Tuesday, October 5th, I believe. I'm not certain about that. I just got back from campus, really. Neeb is getting ready. So let's dig into the music I've been listening to this past week. One of the first pickups from this week is Caius's first album, I believe, Blues for the Red Sun. Just amazing desert, sludgy, stoner rock. Josh Homme, of course, amazing guy. Really just driving album straight to your face. Just very powerful music. That's the only CDA I've really listened to. Rocking my Pearl Jam shirt, of course, today. Up next is a 10-inch. More Naked Giants, Green Fuzz, the limited 10-inch clear pressing. The music video companion to Green Fuzz is like a short film. It's amazing. Right? This is like where you really see Naked Giants explore sonically and their song structure, and you really get to see how versatile of players they are. Really great album. Up next, it was mail day for me when I came home. Primus, Suck on This, their 1989 debut live album. And no, this is not a first pressing from the money Les Claypool got from his father. But this is actually the Record Store Day 2020. Shout out to this dude, Jacob Birchfield on Reddit. He picked this up for me and mailed it. It's just one of my favorite albums. This completes my Primus collection on vinyl. I have a version of every album of theirs so far. And up next is singles and EPs, I guess. Hopefully I can round out my collection completely. But early Primus is super raw and primal. Think of like 60s Grateful Dead, but on a lot more drugs, maybe speed, and they all do manual labor work. But personally, the songs that stand out to me on here are, of course, The Heckler, Tommy the Cat without Tom Waits on it, so Les is just playing the bass and singing. And then, of course, Frizzle Fry. When I saw them back in 2018, they actually played Frizzle Fry, which was awesome, and none of the other songs on here. Definitely a band you should see live. Les Claypool is an absolute madman, and if I was to recommend any album to start with Primus, it'd have to be either Pork Soda from 1993 or Sailing the Seas of Cheese from 1991. Those songs have their massive hits. Tommy the Cat, Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, and Pork Soda, of course, has My Name is Mud. Up next, another new album, Idols, Ultramono. I picked this up last week when I went to the record store. Spectacular. A lot of people it's like a really mixed feelings within the Idols community about this album, but personally, I think it's almost just as good as their other work. Please excuse my mother sneezing in the background. This is what happens when you still live at home. But yeah, this is the deluxe version. It's a gatefold. I'll show you guys. And it's got a giant booklet that's kind of culty according to a Reddit comment, which I thought was just okay. Ultramono. It's an amazing album. Definitely, it stands up to the other work, I think. It's definitely a different vibe, different sounds. But the lyrics are ever important, and honestly, Idols is one of the best bands of the past 10 years, specifically with their message and what they're saying. I said this a couple weeks ago when I pulled Joy as an Act of Resistance. I think that's a great follow-up album, and you have to judge it alone. You can't look at it and compare it to Brutalism or Joy as an Act of Resistance. It's its own piece of art that's cohesive and very structured. Up next, I still haven't gotten around to listening to this. I just pulled it. Live Rust, Neil Young and Crazy Horse. I absolutely love Neil Young. He's always done things his way, and Live Rust is an example of that. Honestly, words cannot explain this album and what Neil Young means to me. I've been listening to him since a very young age. Here's the gatefold. It's got the whole band up on stage. Shout out to Roger Pamgina down in Arizona, user /Roger Rocket 40 on Reddit in the r/vinyl community. He is literally one of the best sellers, and I've bought like 3 straight records from him, and they're all in amazing shape. This is a first pressing, and it's amazing. Just ring wear, the spine's going, but the records are amazing. So yeah, Live Rust. I definitely, this is another good place to start with Neil Young if you want to get into his electric stuff and really see what he's all about. There's nothing better than him belting Powderfinger at you, or me playing along poorly. Honestly, some of the standout tracks to me, of course, are Sugar Mountain. Sedan Delivery is pretty funny if you listen to the lyrics; they're good. Cortez the Killer, Like a Hurricane, Cinnamon Girl. There's a B. Jenny Montero comic out there about Cinnamon Girl that I'll attach to this post. I'll attach the link. There's my dad joking around in the background. Anyways, up next, some jazz. Bill Evans, the Bill Evans Trio, Moonbeams, off of Wax Time. A lot of mixed reviews about Wax Time as a label. It's like Europe's budget jazz repressing label, but I think it sounds well. This is definitely something I'd much rather have it mixed in mono. In stereo, it just doesn't sound right to me at all. It's like you're getting literally just bass and a cymbal in one channel. But nevertheless, a great album. A great place to start with Bill Evans, if you ask me. If you look at the art there, you can see it's pretty snazzy. But literally, like, the Bill Evans Trio, it's been my study music go-to for this past year, almost a year and a half now. And what he does is it feels so natural, it feels so emotional that you just connect with the music and vibe, as they say. But yeah, this is a great starting place if you're interested in Bill Evans. And it's branching off of what he did on Kind of Blue with some more modal aspects, especially with his playing. And then there's just, you get into the other live albums where he just, noodles around for 10 seconds as the show ends. It's a joke. But Bill Evans is definitely a genius gone. Some tracks I'd recommend off of this album. Reperson I Knew, one of my favorite Bill Evans standards of all time. And then, of course, where is it? I Fall in Love Too Easily. It's not a Bill Evans composition, but their interpretation is amazing. And this is also their first album after the death of Scott LaFaro. Probably butchering his name, but that was the longtime bassist for the Bill Evans Trio. And Reperson I Knew became obsessed with Bill Evans became obsessed with that song, and it's intriguing to listen to all the live variations and just seeing like he's just playing it repetitively over and over because of the connection to this person, and it just shows the power of music and how we all connect to it in different ways. Anyways, up next, some IDM is a genre to label it. It's pretty basic of me, but I'm sure you can guess it. Aphex Twin. Peel Sessions, released on the Warp record label from 1995, I believe. Yes, 1995. I also found out that they did a box set of all these Peel Sessions, not with Aphex, but with other artists like him. And I am incredibly bummed. This is an amazing album. I feel like it's a kind of a great little introduction to Aphex Twin, if you ask me. Because his other albums are extremely long and can be very time-consuming. I'd say this and his Ambient series, Part 2 and 85 to 92, the first one. But this has Slow Bird Whistle on it, Radiator, the original mix, Peace String, and then Pancake Lizard. Slow Bird Whistle, I can't explain it. It's amazing. And this is one of the most beautifully packaged albums I have. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but it's a sticker. It's more of like they just like stickered the sleeve, and it's really like shiny and reflective. It's just really aesthetically pleasing. Probably not good for the environment to produce, or for when my offspring or whoever inherits this record collection throws it away, because they're like, what's this electronic trash? But yeah. And then of course the inner sleeve is amazing. In Aphex Twin fashion, there's really weird comments on. I don't know if you can see that up top, but I'll read it to you. The information below has been verified in the present. Aphex Twin. Richard D. James, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, I cannot find a gender neutral word in my head, but if you're listening, I swear it's not heteronormative. Anyways, yeah, Aphex Twin, Richard D. James. If you haven't checked him out, I really recommend it. He's a good springboard if you wanting to get into more underground type stuff, especially with electronic music, his use of synthesizers is marvelous and it's just mind-blowing. And he's mainly old school synths where he's programming it. Another good synth player, which will be in this upcoming band I'm about to show you, is Danny Carey of Tool. I could go on about Tool for hours. It's one of my favorite bands, very transformative for me in early high school, and definitely another, springboard. I love using this metaphor for exploring more music and actually listening to music, as much of a cliche that sounds as a Tool fan. So originally I listened to this. It's the first album that sparked this week, really. Tool's 1992 EP, Opiate. This is a newer repress from like 2006. It doesn't have the double groove that leads into the Gaping Lotus experience. It just plays after Opiate. But Tool, amazing band. I feel like everyone should give them a shot at least once. They do, like the band, specifically their singer Maynard James Keenan, labels some of the fans as insufferable R words, insufferable. I want to get a writing minor I'm saying this. But yeah, it makes sense. It's a cult, basically, the band, fans, which I was part of. I was definitely part of that cult for about 1-2 years of my life. Then I realized these are just people who play really good music and want to make good music and commit to the visual format as well as the audio format. So this is like, I was obsessed with Opiate when it first came out. Not like when I first found it, not when it first came out. Making me sound like I'm a time traveler. But it's just on black vinyl. It's really snazzy. It's nice to finally own it on vinyl. It's, I recommend going chronological with Tool and then just listen to Lateralis. I believe that's one of the greatest albums of all time. It's in my top 10, even though I can't really give top 10s. It's very hard to do. But Opiate by Tool, it's just an amazing album. One thing I will say about Tool is that their sound, it's still relevant today, I think. I'd have to say they're one of the most modern sounding bands from the 90s, like, Pearl Jam, like this alternative scene, like coming from grunge to alt metal. Pearl Jam, of course, like, their stuff sounds kind of dated. You're like, oh, this is just some guys making music, classic rock influence. Nirvana just sounds like straight up punk, which they were a punk band. Alice in Chains, it just sounds like metal. It's just drop D metal. Same thing with Rage Against the Machine. And Tool somehow has been able to accept their progressive notions, much like King Crimson, always changing, always evolving, but that also means they make music pretty slowly, which I don't care. Any Tool's fine with me. Yeah, it's, I feel like they're still a band that, as you listen to their 90s work, especially like Undertow and Anima, you gain another perspective about like, oh, they're actually like playing music that somehow is holding up, and I don't know if that's foresight on their end or what, but it still sounds incredibly relevant. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining me. This is Fulton in Fulton's Music Room from LASR, Lute Air Student Radio here at Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington. Find us online at pou.edu/LASR. Our live music stream is back up, so go listen to internet radio and absorb your ears into new music discovered by our music directors. And anyways, stay healthy, have fun, love each other, and listen to new music. I know I'm struggling with that.